Got them.
So, I'm assuming you're depressed because you're about to fail ordinary level geography in your Leaving Cert. If you're not depressed, and if you're not about to fail ordinary level geography in your Leaving Cert, there's no point in watching this video, because it is only for people who are depressed because they're about to fail ordinary level geography. Keep that in mind, because if you studied your stuff throughout the year, then the advice I'm going to give now is ridiculous for you, and you don't need it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take you through what the paper is like. Right, this is the one from 2011. Well, I'm going to just take you through exactly what needs to be done in case you, well, if you're that much of a dosser, you probably don't know what to do. So I'm going to show you the paper and what's in it. So, give me that. Okay, we're videoing this on Clodagh's phone actually. You know, because basically it would be quicker to upload. Elvie, you're not getting the light. Away, bad dog. Come on. Bad. Yeah, throw her out. Oh, she's gone. Close the door. Okay, so you have the geography paper. You need to do 10 short questions and 3 long questions. That's pretty much it. And the short questions, there's 12 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, 12 short questions. And you're meant to do 10 of those, meaning you can leave 2 out. But if it were me, I would definitely do the extra 2, because there's a chance there's one that you think you've done well, but you've actually made a balls of it, and one that you think looks hard, you might actually do better in. So it's only 2 extra. They only take around, 2 minutes each. So just do the extra 2. Now then you come to the long questions. You've got to do 3 long questions, and here's where you take them from. Basically, it's usually a choice of 1 question out of 3. So your first long question will come from the physical geography section, that one there. And there's 3 questions, and each question takes up a full page. Like this is question 1, but it has part A, B and C in it. And that can be tricky because those parts don't necessarily agree with one another. One might be on the Ordnance Survey, the other might be rivers, and the other one might be volcanoes, like in that particular year. So, read all parts of a question before you do it, because maybe question 2 overall will be a nicer one. So maybe that's the one for you. Or possibly question 3. But basically, whichever of the 3 questions you pick, you have to do all parts of it. So part A, B and C from it. Okay, so that's your first long question from the physical geography. Your second long question comes from the regional geography section. That's your second long question of 3. And it's the exact same format here, where you have a question takes up a full page and has 3 parts in it, A, B and C. And unfortunately, the 3 parts are generally on different topics. So there's question 4, or else question 5, or else question 6 in that section. And that's your second long question done. Then, the rest of the paper, the long questions from question 7 up as far as question 12, you do 1 out of those 6 questions. So it's question 7, 8, 9 in the economic geography, then question 10, 11 and 12 in the human section. But basically, that's where your third long question comes from. 1 question out of those final 6 questions, and then you're done. Now, just to recap on why it is very possible, even if you're depressed and are expecting to fail, why it is very, very possible to pass this exam, even if you know fuck all, properly nothing now. Okay, look at this one. This is an example of the short questions. There's some pictures, and there's some things, and you have to match up the names with the pictures. So basically, the way you approach that question is, whichever is the most obvious one, you fill that in first, and do it as a process of elimination until the most difficult one is left to last, and you should be able to do it that way. Here's another example of the same kind of thing, where they give explanations and then the name of a certain process or whatever, and you've got to match up the process with the correct explanation. Where is it? Freeze thaw? No? Yeah. Oh, would you look at that, how retarded that is? Like, freeze thaw, freezing and thawing. For fuck's sake, are you like 5-year-olds or what? Like, it's so fucking easy. Anyway, okay. And then there's a lovely question like this as well, where all you do is read information from a table. You don't ever have to study that. You just read what's on the table, and there you go. Okay, long questions. So that's the short questions. In the long questions, try and hunt out the easy question. Like, for example, you see this question here. First of all, do a sketch of the Ordnance Survey map. You'll have the map in front of you. Just even if you have never done it before, if you sketch generally what's on it and can include some of these features, you'll get most of that 30 marks. This here, surface processes. Select any of the following processes and explain with aids of diagrams the formation of two Irish landforms resulting from your selected process. Now, you mightn't understand what marine means, you mightn't understand glaciers, but nearly everyone knows what a river is, so river action. Then what you do is, let's imagine you've never studied and you have no clue about waterfalls or meanders or any of that crap. Think to yourself, what do I know about a river? What does it have in it? What landform is made by a river? And if you just think common sense, everyone at least knows that there's a riverbed is formed by a river. So talk about that. Say, a riverbed is formed because the water moves down across the land and eventually digs out a tunnel for itself called a riverbed, or whatever. But basically, that's the kind of question that even if you know nothing, it can be attempted. Okay? This one as well, volcanoes. Most people have seen Dante's Peak or some kind of cartoon with a volcano in it, or, basically, explain with the aid of diagrams how volcanic eruptions occur. It's the kind of question that if you know nothing, you can attempt it. Just draw a diagram of a little spiky mountain with lava coming out of it. And there you go. And give a little bit of bullshit. Talk about Dante's Peak. And you will get a lot of the 30 marks going for that question. Another example of an easy one would be this one here, question 5 in the regional geography. That first bit is a pie chart, and all you've got to do is answer questions in that pie chart. You don't need to know anything to that question except how to analyse a pie chart and read the information of it. Part B, manufacturing industry in Ireland. Explain how any two of the following influence the development of manufacturing industry in an Irish region you studied. And you've got transport, raw materials, markets, blah blah blah. And clearly state the name of the region in your answer. With that kind of question, if you know nothing, don't be intimidated and go with what you know. Like say if you're from Waterford, how would they influence the development of manufacturing industry? Transport, how would that influence it? Well, if there are means of transports that lead to your factory, then that's good. That means that the workers can get there. That means that materials can be easily moved back and forth, etc., etc. That can be bullshitted. Raw materials that I don't want to go into too much detail, but basically that's the kind of question that you only need two of them. Transport's an easy one to bullshit on about, and if you could say about raw materials as well, that being close to raw materials cuts down costs and things like that. Anyhow, this one, agriculture in Europe. So a European region, not Ireland, that you've studied. How do physical and economic factors influence the development of agriculture in a European region that you've studied? So physical means the landscape and that kind of stuff. So you could say, usually with agriculture, any agriculture question at all, say that having good soils is a benefit. The climate, whether it's hot or cold, it's very easy to bullshit that question. Now, let's see what we got next. I have another easy one picked out for you, actually. This one here, in the economic activities, I've picked out a very easy question where you don't need to have studied to be able to answer it. This one here, question 8. A is just a chart of information, and you answer questions about the chart. So you don't need to study for that bit, and that's a nice, juicy 30 marks there. Then you've got one about the industrial location on the aerial photo, where you're picking a spot on the aerial photo to build a fish factory. So you just describe where you want to put it. Say you want to put it in the centre foreground or the left foreground or something, and describe advantages it has for the location of a fish processing factory. You could say things like it's close to the harbour, if it's close to the harbour, or again, transport is something you can always say that they're a good road network nearby, and then problems that might arise. And just think, if there was a fish factory next to you, what wouldn't you like?
Stink.
Exactly. And just with that kind of thing, just think about it in real life, and usually whatever answer you come up with from that kind of common sense perspective will be a valid answer, so go with it, you know. And part C of that question is like, it's beautiful, it's such a joke, right? Pollution in the environment is a problem, blah blah blah, etc. What economic activities could cause environmental pollution? Look at the pictures. They will help give you answers. So handy. And explain one way they could cause pollution. And explain one solution to environmental pollution. With that kind of question, don't be afraid to come up with hysterically funny bullshit if you want. Like, for example, nuke the entire Earth, and then Earth wouldn't exist anymore, so there'd be nothing left to pollute. That's a hysterically funny answer, but because it has some validity in it, they would have to give you some of those 40 marks going for that part of the question. Do you know what I mean? Like, if in doubt, do a take the piss answer, and at least you're amusing yourself, if nothing else. And I think that's nearly all I have for you here. There's one more question. Question 11 in the human is also another one of those beautiful questions where you don't need to know much. First one is a table of figures, and you've got to do a chart. So usually a bar chart is the handiest one to do. Most people know how to do that. And always put the figures on the vertical axis, the up axis, that one. And the cities or whatever, like on the x-axis. Graph paper. And then part B of that was about why do people move from rural areas to cities? To get a good-looking girlfriend. That's a fine reason. Because they like the smell of exhaust fumes. Like seriously, you can, just think to yourself, if I lived in the country, why might I want to move into the city? Ask yourself those kind of questions during the geography exam, and it will help you find an answer. And then the last part of that was another beautiful question here. Part C was about urban issues. You're given 4 pictures, and then you have to match up the pictures to these different descriptions. Cities of the future. There we go. Urban transport. Well, there's some bikes. You can transport yourself on a bike. Urban problems. Graffiti. Some people might see that as being a problem. And heritage issues. There's an old building. That could be a heritage issue. And then describe any one of the urban issues listed above. I like bicycles. When I was 7, my daddy bought me a bike and I cycled it everywhere. Well, I'm taking the piss now, but seriously, that is such a nice question. Right, so in conclusion, give me that. Right, you.
I'm just going to keep it on me because it's nicer.
No, do me. Hi. So in conclusion, the geography paper is a piece of piss. And it depends on your attitude to it. If you're terrified of exams and have this kind of negative attitude of I'm going to fail, and you leave loads of blanks, it'll become a self-fulfilling prophecy and you will fail. However, if you don't take it too seriously, in that you don't mind writing bullshit, when you write bullshit, write it down as if it's the right answer. You have to believe your own bullshit and write it with confidence. And then if you have touched on anything that's good, then you'll get the marks for it. So my advice in geography is don't leave out any parts of any of the required questions, and it will be very difficult for you to fail. Good luck.